Filthy Animals is an ecology podcast for adults. Episodes may contain strong language and graphic descriptions of natural phenomena. A more detailed list of content warnings is included in the episode description. Welcome to Filthy Animals, a sex, drugs, and ecology podcast where science educators talk about activities of the natural world that are adult in nature. Every month, we'll expose you to the latest research on topics your high school science teacher was too embarrassed to talk about. My name is Rachel.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Allan. And let's hang out and talk balls.
Hang out.
Get it? There may be... I've been thinking about testicles for like 24 straight hours.
Nice.
And there might be a few ball jokes in this episode. But...
I'm so glad.
But I think we're all going to learn something.
Oh, good.
Okay?
Okay, I'm excited. I hope so. An entire episode just about balls.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yes.
This is going to be good. we sometimes get into some really weird, niche, obscure concepts.
Mm-hmm.
We do, yes. And I think that this episode, much like balls, will be accessible and capable of grabbing your attention.
Fantastic.
Yes. So let's shift our focus to balls. Why am I talking about balls today? For me, as Rachel said right before we started recording, she said, "Do you feel really connected to this topic, Allan?" And I thought that was. Yeah, that's part of the reason we're talking about balls today. But also because, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that nothing grabs my interest quite like absurd. Yes. Okay, correct. Yes. But like absurdity in nature. Yeah. Okay. If a topic is silly, weird, dumb, kind of nonsensical, I'm all in on it. Okay, that's what really like gets like my brain interested. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty fixated on this topic because this is a really kind of stupid aspect of the natural world of the reproductive life of animals.
Animals. Or is there like specific?
Oh, we'll get into that. Okay. We'll get into that. We'll set our like parameters for what we're talking about in the episode in a minute here. Yes, when we're talking about balls here, we are focusing primarily on mammalian balls. Mm-hmm. Okay, and as several listeners of this podcast are likely testicle owners. Mm-hmm. Some perhaps testicle observers. Regardless, you are aware that they're conspicuous. They are on full display. They assert their presence. Mm-hmm. They're vitally important, but incredibly vulnerable, and very questionably placed. The survival of mammalian species quite literally just dangling by a thread.
Yes.
Wow. A thread? Well,
several threads. So this is they're as far as like anatomical, innovations go, kind of dumb, right? So we're gonna sort of delve into the absurdity of balls and see if what we can learn about why they exist. And we're not going to try and wrap our minds around all the other male gonads of the world. We don't have time for that in just one 45-minute episode of this podcast. But we will at least take a look at the world of mammals and see if we can strengthen our grasp on the mysterious testicle.
Yes.
All right.
God. I want to know why it hurts so bad when they get hit.
That's a great.
Is this
that's a
covered?
great question. Well, yes. There. Okay, so
I also have a question.
I know I'm here to answer all of your questions, and,
so
and
glad.
we will
Thank you.
get to them.
Okay.
I promise you, but I want to start with let's cover some basics first. So first of all, would one of you two give me a definition of a testicle?
It is a gonad, which is connected to the endocrine system
It is.
because it produces hormones.
Yes.
And also little swimmers.
And little swimmers.
Which are sperm.
Yes. Rachel, that was an outstanding definition.
Thank you.
You did cover the two parts of it that I was looking for. So it is a glandular organ, and yeah, it's connected to the endocrine system because it regulates regulates two hormones, your androgens and also testosterone, which are influential in a lot of things in the development of organisms. Including not only sexual function, but muscle integrity, bone density, nervous system function, things like that. And yeah, it also creates the gamete of the sperm, if you will. The male sex cell. So well done. As a bit of trivia, let's talk about some ball superlatives. So the largest ball by weight on Earth. What do you think? What animal possesses that ball?
Elephants.
Oh, we'll get into elephants later.
Oh boy.
It is not an elephant.
Horses.
No.
Cat. No. Those fit in your mouth. You can. Because you eat them, mountain oysters. I wasn't being weird.
That's important. No, that's an important clarification.
Yes.
Yeah.
I almost made a comment earlier about is that why the texture of them is so weird when you eat them?
Yeah.
That they're a glandular organ.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, guys.
No, we
Get
know.
your
We know. I'm just.
heads out of
It's
the
important
gutter.
to remember that this episode, we are just freely giving the world so much potential out of context audio to use against us.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm fine with it because it's for education.
Yeah. Maybe our message will get out that way.
That's right. Nicole, what do you think? You were really pondering this.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. It feels too easy that it's just like a really big animal. So I'm trying to think of like a medium big animal.
Ah.
Are we talking about just the
We're talking
raw
about,
weight?
We are talking about sheer weight,
Not
just sheer
scaled.
size, not in proportion to the body. Yes.
Okay.
So you might be on the right track with big animal.
Bears.
No, you guys are thinking too terrestrially. It's the Atlantic right whale.
There's no
Okay.
wait. They don't
Oh yes, they do.
wait
Rachel.
because they're not
I thought.
external.
Yeah. I was thinking purely external balls. Whale was my first instinct. I was like, wait a second.
Well, this is why it's important to do this episode. Is we're really going to expand our concept of the testicle. We're not just talking about a pair clanging around betwixt the legs here. We're talking about there's actually 4 possible articulations in mammals of testicles.
What? But at the top of the episode, you said that
You
balls
did.
were an absurd invention because they were so vulnerable. But now
Yeah.
you're telling us that that's not like a characteristic that all balls share in common.
No, it's not. Rachel, there's no always in nature. You know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, then balls aren't always a stupid invention. Maybe some of them are really clever.
Well, we're going to get into that too because they started. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that yes, they are a stupid invention, and evolution is doing its best to make it a little less dumb.
Okay.
That's so
But
funny.
there are they do belong to the Atlantic right whale. They are 500 kilograms each, so that is a 1,100 pound testicle.
Thank you. I am American.
Yes,
so-
we are in this room American.
Yes.
That's wait. That's
Now-
so much pounds of balls.
That's a lot of balls.
1,000.
1,100 pound each.
That's like a whole elephant.
That is, it's like a bison. If you put them together, you got like a male
okay.
bison. Yeah, which
They're
is
small elephants.
That's a lot of balls.
But yeah.
How about the largest? Now, the largest ball relative to body mass.
Rats.
you're close. There are rodent species where it gets up to 8% of body mass, which, I mean,
Is it like the shrew that fucks itself to death?
no, it's not. There are no, that's a really good guess though.
Thank you.
Is that the Antechinus? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes,
Antechinus.
Antechinus,
We had
yeah,
that
yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
You're thinking correct that it is a small animal. And it's not, I was surprised it wasn't rats because, I mean,
They're
you both
big.
have a lot of rat experience.
Yeah.
If you've ever been on r/rats, which I know you have.
Oh yeah, it's one of my guilty pleasures to get on r/rats, and the constant posting of like, I can't tell if my rat is a boy or girl, and it's tongue in cheek because they hold up this rat with the biggest
Yes.
balls you've ever seen in your life.
Yes.
And the comments are all like, I don't know, maybe it's just full of soup. It's kind of, it looks pregnant.
Yeah, hard to say as they're holding up an animal that is like half nut.
Yeah.
It's okay. But no, it's this one is it's slightly larger than a rodent. In terms of like its
Bigger than a beaver.
its proportion. No, I'm not.
Gotcha.
I don't have that data. It's the Raffinesque's big-eared bat.
Oh.
And they get up to 8.5%, okay, in terms of body mass of balls. That would be equivalent to a 200-pound person wielding 17-pound testicles.
Jesus.
That's a lot. Okay.
Good God.
Good God, indeed.
That makes sense. Bats are very sexual. Never mind, that doesn't actually make sense. There's no logic that tracks there.
Well,
And
no.
they have to fly. That's so much weight to haul around.
Yeah, true. But I mean, it's also important to remember that testicle mass in some species does fluctuate throughout the year. So in terms of like peak breeding season, testicles may get larger. And Rachel, to your point, promiscuity has also been demonstrated to play a role in testicle size. So the more sexually active, or if a mammal is mating with multiple females, or if a female is mating with multiple males, then we see some differences between their testicles. Mating system plays an important role in this.
Wow.
Yeah. So you guys, I'm just saying, don't dismiss your first thought, because it's you're on the right track with a lot of this stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Allan.
Yeah, of course. So, I couldn't really find good information on the smallest testicles, but I think it stands to reason that probably would belong to the smallest mammal. I'm assuming stands to reason. That would be the Etruscan shrew. They're so little, but I couldn't find a good picture of their balls. Probably because they're only like the size of the first like the distal joint of your fingertip. They're little. They're 1.5 grams. Perhaps they're not even really, I don't know if any effort's been made to effectively locate their testicles based on how tiny they are.
Yeah.
So let's shift our focus then to testicle evolution. And by the way, you guys had questions.
Yeah.
If you want to stop me and ask a question, you can. I don't mean to tell you, hold on.
No.
Okay.
I will derail the entire conversation. Are we going to talk about the anatomy of balls at some point?
We can real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question
Yes.
about that. And it is that, do all animals with balls also have a prostate?
It's my understanding that, and yes, yeah, and I don't know, because there might be an exception out there.
Yes.
But mammals specifically, they do have a prostate. So yeah, you're basically basic anatomy of the ball. You've got your testicle. On the backside of the testicle, you have a tightly coiled thing called an epididymis, which is like sperm storage. It's where sperm comes from the testicle, goes into the epididymis where it sort of like matures, and then it's carried by the vas deferens, up to the prostate, where it becomes mixed up with semen, and then when the time is right, it leaves the body.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
If an animal or a person gets prostate cancer and has their prostate removed, are they capable of ejaculating? Or is this one of those things that they hide from you as a man? Like how they hide from cis women that if you give birth, you're going to like have all these horrific complications afterwards and like bleed for weeks or whatever.
I think if you have your prostate removed, I mean, I believe you are still capable. I think you're still capable of like orgasm, but I believe it would probably be a dry orgasm. Yeah.
What happens to all the sperm? They just live in there.
They just get absorbed, probably.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's like, it's, yeah. These are great questions. I didn't,
Thank you.
As far as like, I didn't do a ton of research into like the human condition of this topic. Because
that makes a lot of sense.
But I mean, I'm curious also about this. So we'll I'll have to look into that more.
Well, I was just curious, like how much of these conditions that we're familiar with as humans apply to everything else in nature. I was like, is that a unique human issue?
Yeah.
Like,
right, no,
or
sure.
does everybody have prostates?
No, yeah.
Why do yeah. But
There's a tremendous amount of similarity between like the human reproductive tract and, like primates and other closely related, mammals. So a lot of this, like this sort of basic anatomy stuff does apply, but there are differences between different taxa and we'll delve into that as we talk a little bit more about the evolution of testes. So specifically, what I want to talk about is why, and this is a question that has really been on scientists' minds for a long time. There are papers on this going way back, like to the, there's papers that I cite in this episode that are from like the 1980s to the present. There's still ongoing discussions, ongoing articles about it where people are rethinking this question, which is, why did testicular descent evolve? Okay, the exteriorization of testicles would be another way to think about that. Why balls on outside? Okay, because that's arguably the strangest thing about testicles. All right,
I've always been taught it's just because it's cooler out there.
Is that why?
I don't know if that's why, but that's what I was taught in like high school biology or middle school or whatever. Yeah, ancient biology
when you're
class.
Hot, they drop more.
Yeah, and it's like, then it's like it's a climate control. Now you're not going to cook your little swimmers.
That is a leading hypothesis, but it may be a little more complicated than that. Okay, so to describe exactly the journey that the testicle takes in the body, it's important to consider this. Okay, so testicles begin forming on the genital ridge of a mammal's embryo, which starts out, embryonic development starts out near the kidneys. It's pretty far from where they end up. They then move through the abdomen to the inguinal space, which is we usually hear the inguinal space talked about with hernias, because that becomes an empty sort of cavity in the body, where if other tissues push into that space, Rachel looks horrified, but that's what a hernia is, right? Yeah. It's very common, and kind of a unfortunate consequence of having exterior testicles. Is the likelihood of inguinal hernias. But they move to that space during early fetal development, and then they move from the inguinal canal into the scrotum, usually. That occurs late in fetal life in humans, pigs, sheep, and cattle, and then after birth in mice, rats, and dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, how does that compare with where testes are placed in other vertebrates? It's quite a bit different. Nicole,
what?
Where are testes in a reptile?
At the base of the tail, kind of just like there.
The base of the tail, yeah, posterior to the lungs, near the kidneys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Rachel, where are testes in a bird?
well, first of all, there's one of them. There's a testy because the other one's like shriveled up, and it's for weight reduction.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
It's like just in the abdomen.
Yeah, yeah. It's also relatively close to the kidney, in a bird as well. Yeah, that's correct. Nicole, what about insect testes? This is an invertebrate, yes, but where are insect testes?
Who knows? Insects are a mystery.
Do they have testes?
They do. They do have testes. They actually have a pair of them. Sometimes they'll be fused into a single structure, but it is also internal and located in the abdomen. And this is something that we see really across all other animals. Is that it's internal. It's well protected because it's an important structure, just like all your other vital organs are inside your body and have some form of something to protect them. Okay. Nothing else is really, except for mammals are running around with their balls swinging in the breeze. So, Rachel, as you mentioned, the evolutionary pressure guiding that is typically thought to be temperature related. Now, it's not. This is where we could probably mention, though, there's a slight issue with that idea. Yes.
Birds have a very high body temperature.
That's correct.
And they have sperm.
Rachel, you're seeing why biologists question this. Okay. So the idea behind the hypothesis of testicular descent is that, okay, yes, it's cooler outside your body, and most biological functions have a upper and lower critical temperature at which they're gonna you go above that temperature, it's like, it's not really working anymore. Enzymes aren't enzyming, etc. You go too low, it's like things aren't activating, right? So with sperm, at higher temperatures, there is a risk of mutation. There is a risk of deterioration. Things don't really produce optimally at high temperatures. So by dropping the balls, okay, things are cool and things end up, fertility in theory becomes higher. Okay. Now, Rachel brings up an excellent point. There are still plenty of things that have internal testicles and yet higher body temperatures than mammals. And there are mammals themselves that also have internal testicles. We mentioned that there's 4 possible articulations. There are what you call testicond mammals, which would be they have entirely internal testicles, which are, generally speaking, not far from where they would originate during fetal development.
Why is that the word for it? Testicond. You got conned into having your testes inside you.
It's C-O-N-D, testicond. Yeah. No, there's no con here. But yeah, so that's what they start out there. There's also the and that group of animals would actually include a significant branch of mammals, the Afrotherian mammals. Do you guys remember? You might have to think back to your early biology classes.
Yeah.
What's in that Afrotherian clade of mammals?
I don't fucking know.
Therian is a word for specific creatures too that are ancient. So
yeah. I think Therian. I think it in Greek or Greek or Latin. I think it means beast.
Okay.
Because we talk about a theropod. It's a beast foot. Yeah.
Okay. I can't think of it.
It's a weird collection of animals. So it is everything from aardvarks to elephant shrews to hyraxes and elephants.
Okay.
To dugongs and manatees.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're talking proto mammal.
Yeah,
fella.
they're just they diverged. I think roughly 100 million years ago from the rest of placental mammals, so they are kind of on their own path a little bit. But they are the testicond group of animals. You also have the marsupial testicle condition because scrotums have evolved independently twice.
What?
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this or not, but in marsupials, they have evolved a prepenile scrotum.
What?
So what that means is instead of being, as we are accustomed to seeing, dick in front of balls, it is balls in front of dick.
Why do we never talk? We're always talking about pouches. That's
Isn't that
fascinating.
weird?
Alan just showed us a picture.
I'm showing you a picture of a kangaroo's kangaroo's testicles dangling precariously in front of their penis.
Yes.
Wouldn't that make it easier to kick them in kangaroo fights?
Oh man, that is as you've identified another major issue with testicles that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Fascinating.
There are, and then of course you have another group of animals that would have not fully exterior, but they are still ascrotal. Okay, so they do not have a scrotum, but they have subcutaneous testicles. Okay, this would be things like dolphins, okay, and whales, right? Because it makes sense that, if you're a whale, you're not going to be dragging your massive 1,000-pound balls through the water. Okay, that's just
not very aerodynamic.
It's not. Yeah, it's going to really slow you down. And there's all sorts of predators that might find that interesting,
Oh no.
So they keep their testicles inside, but not not all the way up into the body. They would be seals. I think also fall into this category. A lot of animals will just sort of have kind of like a countercurrent heat exchange kind of thing going, where they will have highly vascularized tissues that help dump heat away from their subcutaneous testicles, so their balls aren't overheating and shutting down their sperm production.
Now that's adding more credence to the temperature is important in this.
It does.
Myth,
Yes.
Or theory.
Yes, it
Hypothesis.
does. So temperature is a key thing, but why? Okay. We have these four. Oh, and then of course the fourth being just regular scrotum that we'd expect to see. Okay. So 4 different testicle shapes, if you will, arrangements. Now, but why do this? Why are they struggling with this temperature thing when other groups of vertebrates aren't at all, specifically birds? Okay. That was an interesting thing that I looked into, and the answer is that birds selected to evolve heat shock proteins in their balls.
What?
Yes.
That's
because
crazy.
their internal body temperature might be like 108 degrees.
Yeah.
Which is way, way high for most mammals.
Yeah.
And obviously way too high for sperm production. But they have evolved a heat shock protein in their testicles that prevents the degradation of the sperm.
What does that even mean? I don't understand. That's crazy.
It is weird, right? Now, why didn't mammals do that? Is a terrific question.
Did dinosaurs have balls or heat shock proteins?
Well, okay. That's another great question. And I don't know if I have the answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was having a whole journey earlier when you were talking about if temperature matters, because we talked earlier on our other podcast, The Best Biome, about how there's a somewhat warm-blooded reptile that exists today. And I was like, well, they don't have balls.
Yeah,
that
also crossed my mind when I was researching this, because I was like, so if you have a tegu, which has endothermy in breeding season, what is going on with their balls? What is going on with their balls?
Yeah. Has anybody looked into that?
I'm curious. Yeah, I didn't have time to research that one, but that question did cross my mind. But yeah, there's a protein called HSPA2 that is highly selected for in birds. It is not as strongly selected for in mammals. Okay. And why is that the case? I actually looked at it's funny. I found the papers talking about this in a Reddit thread where there was like several PhD students talking about well, why is this the case? And one of them sort of related it to deck building. Okay.
In a card game?
In a card game. So it's like, I mean, this is kind of how genetics works sometimes, right? It's like, yes, the meta, okay, might be heat resistant sperm. Okay. But, mammals have opened a bunch of boosters. They just did not draw those. They have not got those cards to work with. Okay. Those are not the genes that they were selected for. So they they're just building some janky, weird combo testicle scrotum deck. And that's what they got to work with. Okay. So
it's a whole different engine.
Yes, exactly. So, okay. Now, there are some alternatives to the temperature hypothesis, of course, that people have thought about because, like we said, there's all these other kinds, without these heat shock proteins, and yet there are fertile mammals with internal testicles that are doing just fine. So there are some other ideas as to why ball sacks exist. The mutation minimization hypothesis is one that's put out there. Just simply, lowering the testicles reduces the frequency with which a sperm will mutate. There's also the hostile environment hypothesis, which is that if you're putting your balls somewhere where it's cold and it's treacherous, okay, then only your strongest sperm are surviving. So you are conditioning those sperm to be better and to really, to really take charge.
I don't know. That sounds like something Jordan Peterson would believe. So I'm inclined to ignore that hypothesis.
There's also the handicap hypothesis, which would suggest that balls, external testicles, their real function is not necessarily, to improve fertility, but to serve as ornamentation, to display as a visual display of virility and fitness to potential mates. Being despite the obvious handicaps that may place on them. Sure. In essence, our testicles, peacock feathers.
Yeah.
There is some potential legitimacy to this idea because we do see a lot of other primates with very fancy balls, right?
Right.
We do see rhesus monkeys have a bright red scrotum. Vervet monkeys, mandrills, Lasulis monkeys all have bright blue balls. Yeah. Okay. I do, of course, have a picture of that because I cannot resist.
Yeah. It's like robin's egg blue.
Yeah, it is stunning. Really. Yes. Quite
eye-catching.
Yeah, eye-catching for sure.
Yeah. I sent Allan a picture of monkey balls recently.
Yeah. Well, because
with no context.
Well, yeah, it was from like a post or something where like, if you're when you appreciate primate coloration, if you're only talking about like a mandrill's face, you're missing out. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to consider the balls. Do not ignore the balls here.
Yeah, they're asking you to look at them.
Yeah,
that's
literally.
right. They put a lot of effort into those balls. It's a big potential trade-off for them. Let's hang on, where was I? Flip down my notes. Okay, there's also a vaginal activation hypothesis, which suggests that testicles, external testicles, will sort of keep sperm in a sort of a hibernating cold storage state. And then, so that way they are like in their prime condition immediately as they enter a vagina, where the temperature increases, and that sort of activates the sperm into their like go state. The hypothesis also helps to explain why testicles are drawn closer to the body immediately pre-ejaculation, to sort of perhaps start warming up the swim team. Right?
Is that not just muscle contraction? I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway.
But why? But why, Rachel? There's a lot of scientists out there thinking about balls very deeply. You know?
Yeah.
Can't we just like put some sperm in a petri dish and see if they move faster when they're warmer?
I think that's what they do.
Yeah.
I think that's also why we've... Okay. Because we've also figured out that sperm's like survival of the fittest nonsense is also pretty faulty in how we understand which sperm ends up fertilizing the egg, because a lot of what's happening that coerces sperm movement is happening in the vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and that idea is like tied to the fact that, okay, mammals in mammals, unlike in other vertebrates, okay, a mammal egg cell is considerably smaller, and they're really only allowing a single sperm to fertilize. So there is like some biochemical sort of like gatekeeping happening there. And so that's where I think that idea comes from. But there are so many factors that drive that. That is well, that is something I'll get to in just in a little bit here.
Perfect.
Yes. What's our time right now?
38.
Great. Okay. So let me all these there are a lot of other alternate hypotheses. I think one important question in this, the testicle development question, like the development of testicle descent, is what's the norm? What was the standard? Where did this start? Okay. Anytime you're looking into the evolution of something, it's important to establish, if you can, what was the ancestral character that this is derived from, right? Unfortunately, as with most soft tissue structures, testicles don't really fossilize very well. Okay. So there's looking to the fossil record is a challenge to try and understand that. But we do have, as an alternative, the genetic fossil record. Okay. And there were studies done on this at the Max Planck Institute that looked at all these animals. They looked at the genes of mammals with the various testicle articulations, right? Your fully internal, your subcutaneous, your scrotal mammals, and looked at the mutations that they have. And what they found was that the Afrotherian mammals, okay, those elephants and other things like that, they possessed the genes to produce a scrotum, but only as remnants.
Oh.
So that suggests that whatever the common ancestor of all placental mammals, the entire branch of the tree, had a scrotum. Okay, so it started out like that. And since then, we've only seen evolution away from having that scrotum. So, which is interesting.
Whoa.
So it's a compelling point.
I love evolution.
I also want to mention that this sort of this paper, even though it was focused on balls, actually the methods in this paper ended up being pretty significant as a methodology for soft tissue mutation and that sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's kind of fun that it started with the balls, but
oh my gosh, that's so interesting, and also really informs the discussion we were having about why balls are stupid. Because if evolution got stuck with balls in this branch of creatures and has been trying to figure out how to get rid of them in various ways.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, originally, yes, probably the temperature hypothesis holds up, that it's like, yes, cooler temperatures, especially if you're like, a tropical mammal or something like that, great. Improves your fertility, improves your survivability, okay, of your genes. But mammals have since dominated the planet and gone into all sorts of other environments and things like that, where different things have, different evolutionary paths have been taken. So it's kind of interesting and begs the question of, how will balls change? We can't know, but maybe this weird sort of genetic anomaly of dangly testicles won't always be the norm with mammals.
Yeah. Are there any Wait, are there any examples in groups outside of the ones you mentioned where like there's secondary loss of balls?
Secondary loss of balls.
Like are
Can you
balls
explain
consistent
that?
throughout all the mammals? Like are there any marsupials that like independently evolved a loss of balls? Because maybe that means they're working really well actually.
With oh yeah, okay. So I don't like any marsupials that have I don't
Like
I don't
internal
know.
testes
Yeah, I
or
don't know on
something.
that. That's a good question. I have to look into that. I don't know.
Are there any placental mammals with internal testes besides the ones you mentioned?
I mean there's like besides the Afrotherian branch. Well, no, just there's also the ones that have like the subcutaneous, the ascrotal, but still not testicond mammals. So yeah, it's a pretty big variety.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Are those all related to each other?
I mean, yeah, fairly closely. Yeah.
I just think the stuff is neat.
It is
You
neat,
could probably
yeah.
cut most
No.
of that.
I mean, this is what's fun about evolutionary biology is that there are like why do we have this thing? Why is it working well when it seems like it shouldn't? Is it really the quote unquote best way of doing things? Maybe not, but it's good enough.
Yeah.
So this is the way it is, and it is interesting. For those wondering how Afrotherian mammals, by the way, manage to not have like bad sperm, how are they still fertile despite having completely internal testicles? There are some interesting hypotheses with that as well. There is some thought that, okay, for example, with an elephant shrew, that perhaps their daily torpor might be what's preserving their testicles.
Oh, okay.
But
Weird.
for things like elephants, which obviously don't have that and are very long lived, there are, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly.
Yeah, elephants don't have balls, huh? I know that was like ages ago that this was revealed, but I just keep thinking about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, I can picture it, but I've never seen it. You know what I mean?
So the evidence for this disadvantage or how they deal with this disadvantage of having a huge body and completely internal testicles in a hot environment also. The reason for that comes down to them having multiple copies of a specific gene that actually reduces the rate of heat damaged sperm. There is also evidence that this gene is is tumor suppressing, which is interesting because they're long-lived mammals. Cancer becomes a risk if you're a long-lived mammal. So it's interesting that they sort of have they're mutating and duplicating these genes specifically to deal with this problem, and just sort of having these other sort of downstream effects on their general health and wellness.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there is whereas we could have just had like heat shock proteins and just avoided this whole problem, but that's life finding a way for you, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting. And there's the sort of the final thing, I guess, to think about with this, okay, is that there are many, many other factors at play here when we're talking about testicle anatomy, testicle morphology, testicular evolution. There's a lot of other factors because there's a big piece of the puzzle that we're not really talking about, and that is sperm competition. Okay. A meta-analysis, using the largest ever data set of mammalian reproductive success and relative testicle size came out last year. It looked at 631 mammal species across 15 orders and found many correlations. Primarily, the testicle size was positively correlated with increased breeding opportunities, as we mentioned earlier, and mating systems. Monogamous males and males that invest highly in parental care, for example, have a small relative testicle. Okay. So having these big balls in the forest may play a role to create breeding opportunities and may end up giving the individual with the highest quantity and quality of sperm the edge. Okay? But we're not going to get into that today.
What?
I know. Well, because we're coming up on our time here, and this is a big topic. It's a big topic, and if I'm honest, as I was writing this episode, I just had the feeling that it was meant to be part of a pair. So we will investigate a little bit later this season, delve into sperm competition. Okay. This is really just sort of the origin story of the balls, if you will. And later this season we will talk more about what sorts of things are happening that dictate what other secrets are happening inside the testicles. So, tune in later for that. I'm gonna go ahead and call that episode preemptively Balls 2, Showdown in Sperm City.
Nice.
Okay.
Tagline, mating was only the beginning of the battle.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Make sure this is written down somewhere.
But yeah, that's our glance at balls today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some things. And there's more. You really just can't cram all the balls content into just one 45-minute episode.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
try as we might. But yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any parting questions for me about testicles?
You didn't get into why they hurt so bad. Is it just because they're really important?
Yeah.
So
sorry.
you want
Sorry,
to?
I did. I forgot to mention that because there was a paper. There was a paper that I just love the way they phrased this. Let me find it. Hang on.
Oh boy.
Okay, it was. Here we go. This was in the activation hypothesis paper. The researchers put it thusly: testicles have an unusually low pain threshold, i.e., the magnitude of insult needed to trigger the experience of testicular pain, say like, for example, is often innocuous when applied to many other parts of the body. Makes sense. And yes, Nicole, you've obviously you hit the nail on the head there. The evolution of a pain response, especially a drastic one, helps animals avoid behavior that would endanger certain incredibly important parts of their body.
Yeah.
Right. It's why it's like, oh boy, sure don't like being poked in the eye.
But why do pinky toes hurt so bad when you stub them?
Probably because of the force in which we stub them. We just don't care about them, so we just hit them real hard.
That's a good question. That's another probably.
Or noses.
We don't avoid hitting them.
Nose is important.
Noses are very important.
Yeah, you can get away without your sense of smell.
Yeah, but what about
the funny bone?
What about
It hurts so bad.
That's just okay. That I feel like these are like
That's an anomaly.
These are like you're also assuming that like okay the human body is like perfect.
Yeah,
or
not
makes any
everything
sense.
has a reason.
Yeah. These are probably
Sometimes-
just also weird evolutionary mishaps.
Yeah,
Oopsies,
yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Little flaws in the design.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're hitting your funny bone, because like people will straight up pass out from like tapping
Oh,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
right spot on their elbow.
Yeah.
Are you just like hitting? Because like there's a lot of nerves in there. Are you
I
just
think
like
you are
hitting a
like
nerve?
directly pinching or compressing a nerve. I think when that happens. Yeah. And I think people will also, if they're hit hard enough in the balls, I think they'll also probably pass out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Somebody at LARP this weekend got hit twice in the balls in the same encounter by the same person.
Oh my God.
They
Oh,
walked
boy.
off the field, and I was like, fair.
Yeah, I
Fair.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
there.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's bad.
Lightest touch.
Yes.
Only. Yes. All right.
But a very small insult can really set the balls off.
That's right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Don't insult the balls.
Yeah.
They're so sensitive. All right. Any other ball questions? Fantastic. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
For-
you for listening to Filthy Animals. This podcast is produced by our nonprofit Grassland Groupies to spread scientific literacy in the interest of preserving our favorite natural resources. Send us mail at 4925 South Broadway, number 69, wink. That was an accident that we actually got that mailbox, not on purpose.
We were really excited though.
Pretty good.
Wichita, Kansas, 67216. Other social media and contact info of ours is in the notes. And Allan, would you like to share something just like wholesome about balls to wind up this episode?
I will. This is just kind of an interesting. Okay, I will share this article that I found, which we're since our next episode we'll talk about all sorts of ball adaptations in protection and competition, right? So since balls are vulnerable, especially when you have males fighting each other, okay, there's some interesting ways to protect your package. Hippos, for example, have famously highly mobile testicles.
What the hell does that mean?
They are actually they are capable of sort of playing hide and seek with their balls. They will are regularly withdrawn into the inguinal cavity. So and perhaps so deeply at times that they may be up to 40 centimeters
God.
inside the body. This makes it difficult for zookeepers who would like to neuter a hippo, perhaps, because hippo, famously aggressive animal, famously dangerous animal to people. They might like to reduce some of that aggression by giving them a little bit of a snip. It can actually be quite challenging to find the balls, though. Yes, so they're retractable, they vary in depth, and as one zookeeper put it, they are just hard to find. One paper, at least, has declared that it is not known where hippo testicles are. They can just vanish.
Incredible.
Yes, some ball ninjutsu.
Vanishing balls.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'm speechless.
Yeah. Fascinating.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.